They didn't just fire me. They erased me. 6 years of sleepless nights, 6 years of building an empire from the shadows. And in less than 1 hour, my boss turned me into a criminal. He thought he had ended my career. What he didn't realize was that he had just started a war he couldn't win.
If you've ever been betrayed, overlooked, or crushed by someone who thought you were nothing, then this story is going to hit hard. Hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because this isn't just revenge. This is calculated destruction. My name is Elias Vance, and for 6 years, I was invisible. Not literally, but in every way that mattered. At Blackwood Finance, people knew him. Julian Thorne, the golden CEO. Perfect smile, perfect suits, perfect lies. But behind every brilliant decision he made, every deal that made headlines, every billion-dollar acquisition, there was me. I remember nights where the office lights would flicker at 3 a.m., the city outside silent, dead, just me, a cold cup of coffee, and spreadsheets that decided the fate of entire neighborhoods. I predicted market crashes before they happened, saved deals that should have collapsed, rebuilt failing portfolios into gold. And every time, Julian walked into the boardroom, took a deep breath, and said, "Gentlemen, I've made a decision." My decision, his applause. At first, I told myself it didn't matter, that one day he'd recognize me, that one day I'd be more than just the ghost behind the curtain. I believed we were building something together. That was my first mistake. It was a Friday. I remember that clearly, because I walked into that office thinking my life was about to change, and walked out realizing it already had. I had prepared everything: performance metrics, growth charts, deal summaries, proof that I wasn't just valuable, I was essential. Julian didn't even sit down. He stood by the window, looking out over the city I helped him conquer, and said, almost casually, "The board has decided to downsize." At first, I thought it was a joke. I laughed. He didn't. Something in my chest tightened. "You're letting me go?" I asked. Slowly, he turned, and that's when I saw it. Not hesitation, not regret, malice. He walked back to his desk, opened a folder, and slid it toward me. "You didn't think we'd find out." My hands trembled as I opened it. Bank transfers, emails, documents, all pointing to one thing: me, embezzlement. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. "This is fake," I whispered. Julian leaned forward, smiling. "Is it?" That smile, I'll never forget it. Cold, controlled, cruel. "Nobody believes the analyst, Elias," he said softly. "They believe the CEO." And just like that, security was at the door. No argument, no explanation, no chance. I was escorted out carrying a cardboard box while people I had worked beside for years avoided eye contact. Not one person spoke. Not one. That day, I didn't just lose my job. I lost my identity. For weeks, I didn't fight back. Not because I couldn't, because I understood something Julian didn't. Noise is predictable. Silence is dangerous. I disappeared. Small apartment, no social life, no reputation left to protect. And eventually, a job. Paralegal, at a failing law firm. On paper, it was a fall from grace. In reality, it was the beginning of something far bigger, because for the first time, I had access. Legal databases, financial records, corporate filings, and most importantly, time. That's when I started building it.
The Ghost Fund. No name, no face, no trace. Shell companies layered inside shell companies, encrypted transactions, digital shadows. Piece by piece, I started buying Blackwood's debt. Missed payments, high-risk bonds, overlooked liabilities, the things no one brags about, the things people ignore, the things that quietly control everything. 2 years passed. 2 years of watching from the dark as Julian expanded his empire, completely unaware that the ground beneath him was no longer his. Julian's ego was always his weakness, and eventually it caught up to him. He announced a massive merger with Titan Capital, bigger than anything he'd ever done. But there was a problem: debt, too much of it, and to finalize the deal, he needed it gone. So he called a meeting. All major creditors, one room, one negotiation, one mistake. I walked in wearing a tailored suit, clean, sharp, unrecognizable. Not the exhausted analyst he destroyed, but something else, something dangerous. Julian looked right at me and didn't even blink, didn't recognize me. That moment, that was worth everything. He began his pitch, confident, arrogant, dismissive, talking about strategic restructuring and mutual benefit. Then came the pressure. You'll want to cooperate, he said. This is bigger than any single investor. I leaned back, calm, silent, letting him talk, letting him believe he was still in control.
And then he made his final mistake. He mentioned me. "We've already dealt with internal corruption before," he said. "An analyst tried to steal from us. We handled it." The room chuckled. That was it. That was the moment. I stood up, slowly. Every eye in the room turned toward me. I placed a tablet on the table, tapped the screen, and the wall behind him lit up. Emails, real ones, bank accounts, offshore transfers, bribes, and then the audio. Julian's voice, clear, confessing, explaining how he framed me. The room went silent, not quiet, dead. Titan Capital executives stood up immediately, no words, just gone. Board members stared at Julian like they'd never seen him before, and Julian, for the first time, he looked small. "What is this?" he stammered. I stepped closer, close enough that only he could hear me. "You should have checked who owns your debt." His face went pale. "No." I smiled, not wide, not dramatic, just enough. "Julian," I said quietly, "I've been here the whole time."
I activated the clause, the one buried deep, the one no one noticed. Foreclosure. Instant, legal, final. Blackwood Finance was mine. Just like that. Julian's shares, gone, wiped to cover damages. Security didn't escort me out this time. They walked past me, straight to him. Police followed seconds later. As they grabbed him, he finally looked at me. Not with anger, not even hatred. Fear, pure fear. I didn't say anything, didn't need to, because for the first time, he understood. He was never the one in control. I sat in his chair, the same chair I had imagined sitting in for years. But it felt different now. Not like victory, not like revenge, like balance. Like something had been corrected. I opened his laptop, my laptop now, and began working. Because while Julian was busy being the face, I had always been the mind. And now there was nothing left standing in my way. Some people think revenge is about anger. It's not. It's about patience, about timing, about understanding that the people who underestimate you are the easiest to defeat. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in this situation? And of course, subscribe for more stories where karma doesn't just knock, it kicks the door down.